You're welcome back, guys. I'm going to show you guys how to draft this notch collar or lapel collar shirt on pattern and freehand. So please do stick with me to the end of the video. And I also want to let you know that the most interesting part of this particular tutorial is the sewing part. So please do wait to hit the subscribe button and turn on notification bell so that you get all latest updates. Let's get into the video proper, guys. So guys, this is the pattern I'm going to use for this. As you can see, I've gone ahead to gum it with the paper gum because I'm out of fresh paper, so I had to make use of the old ones I have. And equally, I'm going to be tracing this down to the waist. So in other ways, I'm just going to be doing cutting this like a crop top. So this is my measurements for this particular tutorial for both sides, both the freehand and the pattern. So in case you have your own pattern, do well to make use of it. Just draft it. You can draft it to the waistline or to the blouse length, to have a full blouse length, depending on how you want to make yours. So I'm going to be tracing this just to the waistline because I'm not going to be working with this finally. I'm going to be working with the freehand because that one is going to carry the blouse, full blouse length. So I just want to show you how to apply this on pattern paper first, then equally how to go about the freehand part of it, the cutting. So please don't forget to check the next video coming up, or check the description box in case the video is already out, so that you will see exactly how to sew it. Like I say from the beginning, the sewing part is the more interesting part. So I already have my bodies drafted. This one is already made bodies. I use it anytime. I don't want to go ahead to draft. I don't want to draft fresh bodies, like drafting fresh one again. So you can equally check it on the description box. You will see how to go about this bodies. It's very easy and it's very reliable, something you can always use anytime. You don't need to go about drafting fresh ones again. So you can check it out equally on the description box. So please I finished tracing out, sorry. So I've traced out the shoulder, I've traced out my neck. Please, if you pay close attention, I drafted out the back side. The back side is the one I drafted out here. So I'll finish tracing it. As you can see, this is how it looks. This is just exactly how it looks. That's the line for the across back. This is the unfold point I'm labeling. The chest line is there. I've also labeled it. And then this particular part is the dart, the normal dart I have on the bodies. That is 1.5. That's what I brought out there. So like I said, I'm tracing this. If you are making a crop top, you can go ahead and make yours like this. This one is just for the straight, like without any fitting at all. Definitely if you're making a crop top, there will be no fitting, so that is why I had to include that 1.5. So I'll be making use of that 1.5. That in other words is going to be straightforward, no shaping of the waist. Okay, but the one I'm going to be drafting on freehand is going to have a fitting on the waist because it's going to be a blouse length, so I want it to have a little fitting. So that is why you need to watch to the end of this video so that you will see how it all goes. So I'm through with the back side in other words. So I'm going to use this back to draft the front. Please take note, you must, or it is highly advisable for you to draft the back first before the front. So even if you're making use of your own pattern, make sure that you do the back first before the front, because you're going to be using the back to get the front. Now for the front side, this is what I'm doing. I'm taking down 6 inch. So I'm not going to start tracing it all the way like that to trace out. I'll take down 6 inch down. That is for the shoulder line. I'm coming down 6 inch. The normal shoulder line, you notice I might just take 1 inch or half inch, but now I'm coming down by 6 inch. Why? Because of the collar, because of the collar exactly. So for the sake of the collar, and I'm moving in 5 inch. So you can move in 4 inch, you can move in 3 inch. That particular 3 inch, these 5 inch are moving in that I say you can move in 3 inch or 4 inch is for the button. Okay, so if you don't have enough paper to do 5 inch, you can go ahead and move in, or you want to make a wider lapel on this. So that is just the whole idea. So I'm joining the lines together like this to get some, like a box kind of look. So now I've gone ahead to place my back on the line. If you pay close attention, you will see it. Okay, so making sure that the shoulder touches the line. Remember that is the shoulder line, and remember that the back side I traced out is already slanted. That is, it already has a shoulder slant. So all I had to do was just trace this out again. So this is how it looks after I finish tracing it out. I'm still going to make use of the marker to trace this so that it will be more bolder. For now, I'm using the pencil to avoid mistakes. So I'm tracing out the chest line, and that is all I need for this front. So this is the waist, this is the chest line. Please take note, I've not added any allowance on this, and there is no ease on this particular one, okay, because I traced it out exactly from my fitted body. So for the neck, I came down 3 inch. Already I have my 3 inch width, so I just came down 3 inch depth, and then I came out by 1 inch. This 1 inch I'm coming out now is for my buttonholes. So I'm going to do the same on the chest line and on the waistline. I'm going to roll it together. So guys, in order to explain a little better about the ease part, I said I don't have any ease. If you notice on the waist side there is ease, remember that that particular 1.5 inch that I brought out, 1.5. So on the waist side, that in other words on the side there is ease, but on the armhole and chest side there is no ease. So I'm going to be adding that later on the armhole. Okay, so this one is not a big deal, that is why. But if you're drafting from a fresh, like you're drafting a fresh pattern, fresh measurement, all you need to do is add like extra 1 inch to all your measurement. That is to your shoulder, to your bust and all that. You can add 1 inch to it, or half inch, depending on how free you want it to be on you. So half inch, mostly I like half inch most of the times. So if you add it, it will still give you a little bit fitting. So guys, I'm using my marker to trace this out now. I hope I'm not talking too much. I just believe in explaining better. So even if you don't understand what I'm doing, from listening to what I'm saying, you'll be able to understand. So I've been able to trace this front side out now. Okay, with this, now I'm going to go ahead and use my pencil and connect from the point of the chest line down into my neck. Now this particular connection, you don't need it to be maybe, you just make sure that it's connecting in a slanted straight form and it's fitting straight into the neck. Okay, so you're not targeting any particular angle. But in case you want your lapel to be wider or something, you can use a curve and do that to make it have a bolder look. Okay, so I just remembered now to label this back. Just imagine me. Okay, so now what I'm doing now is I want to take the measurement of my back. So for the back I have 3.2. I'm going to go ahead and place this, measure it back on arm sky. I usually on neck sky, I like measuring on sky, the sky method. It helps, it gives more accuracy. So now from this particular point I'm going to move up that 3.2 I got, that is 3 inch 0.25. So I'm going to move up and mark it. Now this particular line is not straight, it's not, I'm not going to connect this to the neck straight forward. It's going to have a little slant. So I've marked it and I've ruled a line for that part to make sure that that is the exact place I'm hitting. Now I'm going to use my ruler at first. I wanted to make use of my French curve, of which you can actually use it too if you know how to use it well. Just make sure that whatever you are going to rule will balance with the neck at the end. It will balance with the neck and lapel. It will look balanced. So I'm going to come out by 0.5 on the side because this one is just straightforward direct. So you need to have a little slant to be fitted. So don't forget, like I said, it doesn't need to be slanted, like bent, too much bent, and it doesn't need to be too straight. Just have that fitting. So you can see, if I wanted to make use of the curve to do this, just place it right and then I'll be able to still get it. Okay, so but then you need it to be straight. You need that straight look. So I'm going to clean this part out because it's looking a little bit rough. I'm just going to clean it and then go ahead and use my ruler and rule it back again. Okay guys, I'm okay with this now. I'm canceling this one out. I'm going to be using this one. So I'm going to go ahead now and extend this line out. So for the height of the collar, I'm going to be using 3.5, but you can use 3 inch, you can use 4 inch. So most times 3 inch, 3 to 3.5, they're usually accurate. Like they're very, very okay most of the times. They make for very nice color look most of the times, more than using 2.5 or too much. So like I say, 3 inch or 3.5, I'm using 3.5 here. So on this particular spot, I'm coming up by 0.5 so that I'll be able to get my notch. So this is the notch. This whole one I'm doing now is the notch. That is what I'm getting now. So from this particular midpoint here, I'm going to use my, just measure 1 inch. So please take note, the 0.5 I moved up, it mustn't be 0.5 exactly. You can do it 1 inch. So depending on how wide you want your notch to be. If you observe, you notice some notches are wide. That is why where the freehand of this is usually very interesting, because during the freehand you can just give yourself enough space the way you want it. But then you can equally do the same on the pattern. So like I said, just depending on how wide you want your notch to be. So now I'll go ahead and use my marker and retrace this again so that it will look more nicer and sharper. So I will equally connect this part. That is my collar. Now I have 3.5 there, and I'm going to use my French curve and connect it down to this point of the notch. So please take note, it doesn't need to go in deep. Just let it have a nice bold look. Okay, so I've gone ahead to do that already, and I will use my marker to retrace the lapel part of this. So guys, if you are looking closely, you can see that we are through with this. So if you are a very creative person, you will know already that by this particular pattern drafting, you can use it to draft a jacket for yourself. The only difference here is that there is no dart. So there is no dart, there is no how will I describe it, that lines, that legs to make jackets. Okay, but this is just how to draft a lapel and collar for jackets. So this is the front, back, and this is the front, and it's looking so lovely. Yes, if you know you're enjoying this tutorial so far, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for more updates. So the sewing of this is just going to be the same with the freehand. So please watch out for the sewing tutorial of this. It's actually very interesting. So I'm going to trace out this line that is supposed to be here that was hidden, I left out. So for those of us that seem not to understand the 1.5 I talked about at initial, so this is it. There is already an allowance that is already on this waist side, in other ways, and on the side. So I don't need any other thing to add there. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead on the shoulder, just come out by 0.5, and I'll curve it down to the armhole. That is just what I'm going to do. And then when I cut this out, I'll place it on my fabric, and I'm going to be adding all my allowances. So on the side, the seam allowance I'm going to use to join. So on the side, I might decide to add 1 inch or 1.5. Then on the hem part, I can decide to add 2 inch or 2.5. Okay, so that you'll be able to hem it perfectly if you're not using lining. Okay, so that is it. Okay, so I'm cut out. Just pay close attention to how I'm cutting this out, so that you will not, after drafting your work, you go and spoil it by cutting. Yeah, so this is so lovely and so beautiful. This is it. If you fold this part, this is the lapel I'm talking about, and this is the notch. Okay guys, into the second one, which is the freehand with how to draft this. The method I use to draft this on freehand is just a regular method of drafting bodies. There are two ways you can draft this. You can draft it in form of a male shirt, and you can draft it just, this one is, I call it female way of drafting shirt, or so we can use the other method. You can check the description box below. You will see exactly how I drafted how to sew male top, Ankara male top. You will see that is how you can go ahead and still use to draft this one. But this method I'm using is very simple and very easy and less stressful. So I like this method. I'm okay with it. So please take note, this one I'm drafting, I'm going to be using my waist measurement because I want it to have some fitting. The only thing is I'm going to be adding ease on every side of it so that it will be free on me, and then it's still going to be fitted. So if you notice, I've gotten my bust point, and gotten my waist point, and from my waist point I'm coming down by 8 inch, which is supposed to be my hip line, but I'm going to move up to 7 inch because my fabric is not up to. So that 7 inch is where my blouse is going to stop. The remaining 1 inch there is going to be for my hemming. Okay, so that is it. I've gotten all my lines: the shoulder line, the bust line, the waistline, and the hip line. So that is for the blouse. Please don't forget to neglect your hip line if you're making a shirt that will extend down to your hip, so that it will not come and tight you on the hip. Okay, so for my shoulder I have 16. I've divided it by 2. I have 8, and I've added 1 inch, so I have 9. That is what I just marked. I'm still going to go ahead and drop down the same 9 inch again. So you can see how far I'm adding my seam allowances. So now my allowance here is, I have 0.5 for allowance and 0.5 for ease for this. So that is the whole idea of the 1 inch I added. Okay, so I have to redraw this part because I didn't measure it well. So this is 9 inch, and I roll this backward. So I've gotten the midway of this, and I'm going to come in by 1 inch. The way I usually get my armhole, my sleeve usually comes out nice. So I'm coming down by 3 inch for the neck. So for the neck I'm doing 3 inch width and 3 inch depth. I'm okay with it like that because I know that at the end it's going to either give me 17 inch. Okay, I don't want my collar, my neck to be tight or fitted. So I just want it to be a normal neck. So but if you want yours to be more fitted, you can go in 2.5 on the width or 2 inch on the width. Okay, so please guys take note, when I'm drafting here is for now is the back actually, not the front. So I came down by 1 inch. I have to recorrect that again, and then 3 inch. Okay, so going ahead to curve my armhole, I divided my bust measurement by 4 plus 1 inch. I added the same 1 inch there. I'm so sorry that my chalk is not showing very clearly. I didn't even notice this. Was until I started watching the video that I noticed the chalk wasn't that clear. So for my waist, I have my waist divided, and I added the same 1 inch. Please take note, you mustn't add 1 inch. If you add 1 inch, you might end up having it to be too free, so you can do 0.5. okay, if you do 0.5, it means that you added 1 inch ease. So I later reduced this 1 inch I did on mine actually to 0.5. Why? Because like I said, I want this shirt to be more fitted. I don't want it to be too free and all that on me. I don't want it to be tight equally. I want to be able to just wear it and feel the fitting on it. So I did the same on the hip, and then I added 1.5 for my seam allowances, and that is just it. Okay, please, I hope this is not confusing. For the shoulder I added 1 inch, and the 1 inch is 0.5 is added to the shoulder, and the 0.5 is for seam allowance. While on the side, the other side, I added just 0.5, then I added 1.5 for seam allowance. Okay, so that is just what I did on this. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. Remember, like I told you from the beginning, you should try to always draft the back side first before you draft the front side. So I'll go ahead and cut this out now. This is so faint, but if you pay attention, you will see it clearly. That's just what I think. I just didn't know that this chalk wasn't clear. So I've gone ahead to place it and this is what I'm doing next. I took out 1.5 instead of 1 inch. Please take note, this 1.5 is optional, but most of the times 1 inch works very well for the button. Okay, so 1.5 works very well, it's okay, but I want to go for one for the I just want to go for the 1.1 inch. Sorry, 1 inch works very well, but I want to go for the 1.5. So 1.5 is going to add extra jara, should I put it that way, to my lapel. Okay, so I've gotten my button lines. So I'm going to go ahead now and connect this. I'm going to use my hand to connect this. So I'm connecting this with my hand because if I place the curve, it might end up giving me something a bit too, it might not come out nice anymore, because I've added some extra 1.5 to this, making it a bit wider, so you can see how it looks. So I'll just go ahead now and cut it out. So that is all for this particular drafting on the back. So I've gotten it. So the next, to cut the collar, I will have to start joining this. I have to start sewing it in order for me to get the collar for the joining. I have to cut the collar. Remember, this one is freehand, so I have to cut the collar. I have to join it before I get the collar, and I'm going to equally draft the sleeve in the next video of how to sew this. So please, if you know you have enjoyed this video so far, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notification bell for more updates. You don't want to miss the tutorial on how to sew this at all. You don't want to miss it. So like I said, it's very interesting. So that is where I'm going to draft the sleeve for this final work, and equally I'm going to draft the collar and I'm going to join it. You will see how to join it, so trust me, you don't want to miss out, right? So I'm still retracing out my button. I keep calling it zip, I don't know why. So I'm just going to go ahead and notch it like this. So just a little notch so that you'll not get confused. So when we get into the sewing tutorial, that is when you're going to see exactly the next thing to do and how to go about the finished touch. Please take note, the sewing of this is as the same as the pattern drafting. So it's the same way to sew the pattern on is the same way to sew the freehand. So nothing, the only difference is that the pattern, you have to add all your allowances by the side after you finish, when you're cutting it on the fabric. But this one, I've already added the allowance and everything here, and I'll just move on to start sewing. So guys, see you in my next video. Bye.